kerfuffle there was, the children were present.
A custody exchange goes haywire.
He picked me up, tried to take me into his house, held me in a corner between the garage and his house, and started calling me names. I wasn't going to sit there and let him do this to me, and I wasn't going to start a fight in front of our children.
Then this ex was picked up.
Were you arrested?
Yes, I was.
And charged with what?
False imprisonment.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinland. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Abel Marino is suing his ex-wife, Jennifer Marino, for bail and attorney fees after he was arrested for unlawful imprisonment.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 543 on the calendar, the matter Moreno versus Moreno.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Moreno, this is your former wife. You have 2 children, and you have been divorced for how long?
We were separated for a year permanent last month.
And there was, I understand, a custody order that was in place at the time when you allege that you were arrested on a complaint by your former wife on what you claim were false allegations, and you want her to compensate you for your bail, for your attorney's fees, and for damages for making these false claims. Your wife says that you were, in fact, abusive, and she has a cross-complaint for her attorney's fees. So I have a few questions. On what date was there a court order put in place that required the children to be transferred at a police station rather than at one of your homes?
1/6/2012.
May I see it, please?
Yes, you may.
Where does it say that the pickup and return is at a police station?
It should be in there.
Just take this and, where would you ask Mr. Marino to point out to me? I might have missed it.
It isn't in here.
It is not in there.
No, it's not.
Well, this is your complaint. Your complaint is that on March 14th, 2012, you say your former wife was supposed to pick up the children. The children were in your care and custody. You say that she was supposed to pick them up from the sheriff's station at 6 o'clock. Well, that is not in the order.
Correct.
Is there any subsequent order to that, and prior to March 14th, which directed that the children be picked up and returned at the sheriff's station?
No, it was an agreement between both parties.
Did you make that agreement with him?
We originally made the agreement, and he would not let me pick the kids up at a police station. He refused
Just
to
a second. You're talking too fast and too quietly.
Sorry.
For me. The question is, did you make that agreement with him that the children were to be picked up and returned at the sheriff's station?
Yes, we did.
Great. When did you make that agreement?
I'm not for sure of the actual date.
Prior to January of 2012 or after?
Prior.
Okay, so that had been your practice to pick up and return the children at the sheriff's station?
We never actually did it because he would refuse to actually go to the station to drop them off.
So that now there is no court order requiring that. So your wife called you on March 14th, according to you, or sent you a text message saying she was coming to pick the children up, and you said pick them up at the sheriff's station at 6 o'clock.
Correct.
And according to you, she showed up at your house at 5:30.
Correct.
And there's nothing that prevents her from doing that.
No, there wouldn't be.
So now you're going to tell me your version of what happened.
Okay. 5:30, she comes to the house. I'm not expecting her. I'm expecting to meet her at the police station.
Well, your former wife says that you had not routinely been picking up and dropping off the children at the police station.
It was only supposed to start on March 14th. I had instructed her that I didn't want to deal with her anymore.
Just a second. So the answer is you had not picked up and returned the children at the police station
previous.
prior to March 14th.
No, the agreement was
Just a
previous,
second.
No.
So you were changing, according to you, you were changing yourself without court order because you didn't want to, I think you said, deal with her anymore. You said, you go to the police station. Well, you know you can't do that.
Okay.
Before you didn't do it. You want to change the rules, you have to go back to court. You can't tell her, that's where I want you to go. You may have been right. Turns out you were probably right because whatever kerfuffle there was on March 14th, the children were present. So she shows up at your house at 5:30, and you weren't expecting her because you had told her to pick the children up at the police station.
Correct. So I answered the door, and she asked me if she can pick up the kids earlier. I said that's fine.
You mean a half hour early?
A half hour earlier. I said that's fine. My kids were eager to go with her, so I told them to grab their shoes. While they were grabbing their shoes, I stood in the doorway speaking to her. I never stepped outside my door. I had asked her about my son's homework, He was having problems.
Well, just tell me what you said to her. You're standing at the door, and she's standing at the door.
I asked her if she would start helping me with my son's homework.
Helping you.
Correct. Helping me and my son with his homework.
What does that mean, helping you and your son?
He gets a packet once a week, and every time she brought him home, his packet was never done, so I had to make up for the lost when I wasn't with him.
So you asked her if she would do his homework assignment with
Yes,
him?
while she had him.
Okay, and?
She said he didn't want to do it, that he would argue with her. And since he was 5 years old, she wasn't going to force him to do it. I said, well, you're the mother. You need to let him know that you're in charge. He's going to do his homework whether he likes it or not. She didn't like that.
No, don't tell me what you didn't like. What did she say?
She said, I'm not going to force him to do his homework. If he wants to be dumb, he can be dumb.
Right.
That's it.
And then what did you say?
It was her birthday on Friday, that Friday. She was going to Vegas. I told her, if you're not concerned about our child's homework, I'm not concerned about you going to Vegas for your birthday. You can find another babysitter for them. She got very upset.
Okay. What she had previously, I assume, asked you is if you could take care of the children and extend your custody period to cover when she wanted to go to Vegas with friends or whatever for her birthday.
That is correct.
And you said yes.
I did.
Great, because that's what your court order says, that you're supposed to ask each other first.
Correct.
Before you ask a third party, like a parent or a sibling or somebody else or another babysitter. So she asked you, you said yes, and then you said, well, if you're not going to be concerned, and this is all taking place at the door trestle,
door, yes.
arguing with each other.
Yes.
And you've just told the children just to get their shoes.
Correct.
And this wasn't a conversation that you could have with her over the phone.
Correct. It would have.
Why? Why wasn't it a conversation that you
Because
could have had with her over the phone?
Because she had showed up to my house unannounced.
No, she wasn't unannounced. She told you she was coming.
No, she asked me if she was picking up the kids today, and I said, yes, you are. Pick them up at your scheduled time at the police station.
Well,
She
you're
didn't
not.
tell
You
me
can't
she
make
was-
that order.
She didn't tell me she was
You
coming to my
can't
house.
make that order. All right. Doesn't matter. She's standing at the door, said, I'm here to pick up the kids. Kids were anxious to go get your shoes. Goodbye, go with mommy. I have something that I'd like to discuss with you. Can I call you later? It's about the boys' homework. Fine. Leave. Why you choose to have this discussion at your door, I have no idea. That was your choice.
Yes, it was.
Okay. And I assume that the conversation got heated when you say you're not so interested in this homework?
It did.
Right? So that's all very unpleasant, right?
Correct.
And then what happened? So far, you see, you're not getting a sympathetic ear from me.
The kids come to the door, they give me a kiss goodbye, and they leave. They all leave. Later that day, I get a call from a sheriff. She asked me if she can come to my house and speak to me. I said, that's fine. She came to my house. She said if there
Don't
was...
tell me what she said. Were you arrested?
Yes, I was.
And charged with what?
False imprisonment.
Okay. Now, you want to tell me, Miss Marino, your version of the events of the 14th of March.
On the 14th of March, I went to go pick up our children, and I had sent him a message letting him know I was outside because I was not going to go into his house or his apartment. He didn't respond. I sent him an email, waited about 15 minutes.
Do you have those?
No, I do not.
Go ahead.
I waited about 15 minutes, and then I walked up to his residence. I knocked on the door. I placed myself behind his car to give myself enough distance between him and the vehicle because of previous incidents of
Just tell me what
violence.
happened on the 14th.
He opened the door. He told me to come in. I refused to go in. He told me I was acting like a child. He then came out to go into his garage and picked me up. Tried to take me into his house, and he let me down right before we got into the door. Held me in a corner between the garage and his house and started calling me names, flicking me with his fingers, telling me I was fat and just going on with name calling. Eventually, he let me out, and I started to leave without
What was he saying to you?
He's calling me dirty.
No.
He was...
What? About what? Did he discuss homework?
No, he did not. He did not discuss our son's homework at all.
Go ahead.
He was going on about other incidents. Eventually, he let me out of the corner, and I started to walk away without our children because of the fact that I wasn't going to sit there and let him do this to me, and I wasn't going to start a fight in front of our children. He yelled for the kids to come out and then let me leave with the kids. I drove home, and then here he comes banging on my door. So I called the sheriffs, and they came
Who
out.
came banging at your door?
Mr. Moreno.
What time did he come banging at your door?
Within 15 minutes after I went to go pick up the children.
Who do you live with?
Just me and my children.
When you called the police, did you advise them that he was there at the house?
I let him know that he was banging on the door.
Do you have a copy of that report?
I do have a copy of the
I'd
police
like
report.
to see it. Why did you go to her house?
To drop off the car seat.
Why didn't you give her the car seat?
She left without it. She didn't have her car seat. She left with... We were sharing car seats. She had left hers, the one she bought for our children, that was for her car, she left it at her dad's house. So I had an extra
You mean
car seat.
after the unpleasant conversation that you just had with her,
Yes.
you went over to her house within 15 minutes?
No, not within 15 minutes.
How much time?
It was about an hour.
So what?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You get nothing from her. Nothing. Zero. Nada.
The reason why they granted the restraining order...
Don't tell me I don't get a reason. I have a reason. The reason is the court order.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Abel Marino says ex-wife Jennifer Marino owes for bail and attorney fees after Jennifer had him arrested for unlawful imprisonment. Jennifer is countersuing, also for attorney fees.
I'm going to stop playing with you, Mr. Marino. Mrs. Marino filed for a protective order. She sought a temporary restraining order with regard to this incident.
Yes, she did.
She was granted a temporary restraining order with regard to this incident of March 14th.
Yes,
Subsequently, you had a trial.
correct.
The trial involved the incident of March 14th.
No.
What did the trial involve, Mr. Marino?
An incident on November 6th.
You have a copy of those minutes?
No, I don't.
I do.
I'd like to see them, please.
A letter from the district attorney, if you'd like to see
No,
that
what
as
I'd
well.
like to see if the incident that formed the basis of your protective order was the incident of March 14th or November.
It was on March.
It was March.
That was on March, but the trial, there was a different case.
Oh, just listen to me.
It's a confusing story.
It's not a confusing story at all, sir. All I want to know is whether a judge heard both parties with regard to the incident on March 14th.
Yes, they did.
And after the judge heard both parties with regard to the incident of March 14th, I assume you told him the same story you just told me.
Correct.
And she told the judge the same story that she just told me.
Correct.
And after that, the judge granted her an order of protection.
Correct.
Final order of protection.
A 6-month temporary restraining
No,
order.
6-month final order of protection. Judge could have granted a full-year order of protection. Judge chose to issue, after a trial, a permanent protective order.
No, that is not true. It was a 6-month temporary restraining order.
So far, you've been wrong with everything you told me.
You're on
So far, you've been wrong with everything you told me, Mr. Marino. You were wrong that there was a court order requiring that the children be picked up and dropped off at the sheriff's station. You were wrong with regard to whether a prior judge heard the testimony from both of you about the incident of March 14th. You were wrong about that. She went to court, filed for a temporary order. She got a temporary order, but then when you have a trial, the court grants a final order.
And it was 6-month restraining order.
In this case, for 6 months.
Correct. That is correct.
Well, that's what I just said. Not a temporary order. The court had a trial, and at the trial, the court found, by more evidence than not, that she was telling the truth and you were not. And based on that, the court granted her a protective order for 6 months.
That is not the reason why. The reason why they granted the order, Your Honor, because I had a pending case.
Listen to me very carefully, sir. I just said to you, a prior judge heard your testimony
Correct.
about March 14th, the
Correct.
same testimony you just gave me, and heard her testimony.
Yes.
And the court made findings.
Yes.
You get nothing from her. Nothing. Zero. Nada.
The reason why they granted the restraining order...
Don't tell me I don't get a reason. I have a reason. The reason is the court order. That court order is binding upon me because we have the same quantum of proof. That judge and I deal with the same level of proof. He or she heard you. I heard you. That judge heard you and said, I don't believe it. Neither do I.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What's your witnesses? You had an opportunity to bring any witness you wish. Whether you brought them or not is totally up to you. But you don't get 2 bites of the apple. 1. You had your bite of the apple, and you lost.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Abel Marino is accusing his ex-wife, Jennifer Marino, of having him falsely arrested for unlawful imprisonment. Jennifer claims Abel is an abusive man.
Okay. Now, the fact that the district attorney chose not to proceed with the criminal charge of unlawful imprisonment, which you are here about today,
Correct.
is this kind of intertwined with her application for a protective order. It all has to do with the same incident. So your case is dismissed. Now I'm going to get to your counterclaim, because your counterclaim says you want attorney's fees for filing the protective order. Did you make that application before the judge who heard the case?
Yes.
And what did the judge say?
He granted me the restraining order.
No. Did you make the application for attorney's fees
No.
before the judge? Well, that was the appropriate forum to make your application for attorney's fees. Not here. Now, are you still sharing custody with your children?
Yes, we are. Can I show you documents from my neighbors that were Witnesses to the
No.
March 14th incident?
No.
They're signed under oath,
No.
Your Honor.
The
Why would
answer
my
is-
neighbors
The
lie to me,
answer
though?
is no.
It makes no sense
They-
why my
it
neighbors would
make no
lie
sense. Listen
under
to me, Mr.
perjury.
Marino, carefully. Courts, if they're worth their salt, don't take testimony from a piece of paper. Courts hear witnesses.
Okay.
Courts hear witnesses. You had an opportunity to bring any witness you wish. Whether you brought them or not is totally up to you. But you don't get 2 bites of the apple. 1. You had your bite of the apple in a civil proceeding, and you lost. And it all had to do with the same March 14th incident. Now you get it? You have half custody of your children, and you have half custody of the children.
I have sole legal and physical custody of the children.
As of when?
As of March 6th, when we went back to court. I have
I'd
that.
like to see that.
It's going to be line 3.
What happens on the 27th of March?
We go to mediation.
We go to mediation.
Yes.
Okay. You agreed at that point, Mr. Marino, to a 5-year protective order for your former wife.
Correct.
Not 6 months, 5 years.
On March 6th, I did. Yes, I did. I don't have a problem staying away from. She needs to stay away from me. I don't have a problem with that, Your Honor.
People don't consent to a 5-year protective order.
I'm the one
so
that's
unless
going to
there's a
jail,
reason.
Your Honor. She's coming to my house.
Mr.
I'm
Marino,
going to jail. I'm
Mr.
protecting
Marino,
myself.
Mr. Marino.
So the restraining order
I'm
actually
going to tell
protects
you,
me.
Mr. Marino, you can't talk over me. This was my bread and butter for a long time.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, I suggest that you now have supervised visitation with the children, much less visitation than you originally enjoyed, and you have a hearing or a mediation scheduled for the 27th of March. In the meantime, all I can suggest to you is that you better start getting along with each other. You have very young children, and there's going to be a long period of time, and you don't sound as if you're a bad father, sir, at least based upon what I hear. It just sounds like you weren't a very good husband or an ex-husband. In any event, your case is dismissed. Your application for legal fees can be made in the family court proceeding if you like, not here. You had your opportunity when the judge heard the protective order. Got it? That's it. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Some get clever.
What's the story? I'm sticking to it.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Others get hostile.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
Judge Judy gets the last word.
They don't keep me here because I'm gorgeous. They keep me here because I'm smart.
That's what I've been getting in the court systems with her lies, so I'm used to it.
He's a bully. He just wants to try to get what he can out of me.
Continuous lies. You know, I'm concerned about my kids. She's concerned about herself.
The domestic violence, the abuse that he did.
I stood in my doorway and I asked her to help me with my son's homework. She didn't want to do that. She got upset because I didn't want to watch the kids for Vegas. She got upset, so she made up more lies.
He's full of a lot of stories. He likes to believe his own stories and make up stories.
Just tired of her lies and her cheating. Couldn't take it anymore.
I was a very faithful wife.
I need her to stay away from me. They can give her a 1,000,000-year restraining order, but my kids, that's my concern.
He's very abusive and dangerous, and it's better for my safety and for the safety of our children.
Just finish raising our children. That's it.
I hope that he eventually grows up and can act like a man and stop playing childish games.
Hopefully it's behind me.
I don't know. I don't know if that's ever going to happen.